Okay, hopefully we are now live. I don't know if that's true. I guess we'll soon find out in a minute. Hold on a sec. Yes, I think we're live. I think we are live. Awesome. So I'm going to be painting the Yur Ships using Citadel Contrast Paints today. So I've got the Gunship and the Science Vessel, just in the continuation of the story that I'm playing, the campaign that I'm playing for Stars of Akarios. If anyone jumps in the chat, please ask any questions about painting the game, whatever it might be. I know we've got quite a few new painters looking to get into painting, so it'd be cool to speak to them if they're on. In any case, if you're watching this later, not live, you'll hopefully be able to see how I paint through my process and in real time as well. Now, the Yur Ships are quite basic, I suppose, apart from if you have a real close look, you've got these kind of like details all over it. So at first glance it seems real basic, but I want to try and get that detail onto the ships as well. Now I do have all the ships. I've got 2 gunships and 4 science vessels, but I'm just going to be painting up obviously one of each today, just to show how it goes on. Now I have just noticed, first issue I have is I've forgotten my my palette, so I'm just going to quickly grab that. How do I get back in without destroying setup? So I'm currently waiting to move house, so I've got a little workstation on the kitchen table, and that's where I do all my recording from and to. The hope is to eventually get a bespoke kind of room to paint on soon. Right, okay. So we've got our all-important palette. Those over there for now. Right, okay, excellent. So I think we'll get started straight away. Just going to replace those, whoops, with those so I can kind of see where I'm going with that. So a relatively large brush to start with, because we're going to cover quite a bit. And as you can see, we've got this kind of like grey blue, very light blue to go across, which I'm going to basically put across the whole ship. So to do that, we're going to get a little bit of Ultramarines blue. By the way, list of paints up there. And I'm also going to use some contrast medium, and I'm going to use some Griff Charger Grey. So those 3 paints are what we're going to be using effectively to mix up this colour. So actually I'm going to flip that round. So I've got a little, I might as well use this blue well here, which I've already started in blue. Okay. So just pick up a load of this blue. Again, probably about 3. I think that'll be fine. About 3 brushes worth. Clean the brush between paints, of course. Griff Charger Grey. Give them a good shake before you get moving. Maybe one more. So about so much. Nice. Yeah, it's a good blue. Bit more of a grayer blue. And now we need to lighten this tone quite considerably. So this is where our contrast medium comes in. And the way I do this, I kind of drop it on. I want a decent amount of this. Do need to get another one of these. There we go. And that, let's have a look. Might need to chuck in some white actually. I've changed my mind, and this will happen as you start to paint, you'll change your mind. So I think I'm going to check in some Apothecary White. I want it a little bit more brighter than, not brighter. I mean, this Apothecary White won't make it brighter, but a couple of those, that might be too much. Oh no, that's better. That's better. Is it that? Yep. I think. Am I happy with that? I think I'm happy with that because this, what I'm thinking is this light blue, it's really bright, light, vivid blue, I'm going to paint afterwards. I want this colour in between, which is what I'm trying to get with this colour. So, without further ado, using the kind of stand to help it. So literally go over the whole model with this, and it'll be quite watery, so don't be too worried about. These are miniatures, as always, have been primed with Wraithbone, Citadel's Wraithbone spray. And I have got the chat open if anyone does want to ask questions or just chat. The Violet Ray video is coming soon, very soon. I've now edited the video, so now I just need to do the voiceover and record the video. Probably take about half an hour, and then I can upload it. So expect to see that relatively soon. I'll probably do that after this live stream. I'm just trying to get into all those nooks and crannies on the inside. Front of the ship. I'm pretty happy with that. So that's got that kind of base colour to put on to start with. We'll do exactly the same now with our gunship. Now this is quite a big flat space, this top bit here. So just be a little bit careful not to get pooling. So just bring the brush down. Because you don't want, and the last thing you kind of want to do is have to go over any parts as well, so make sure you're getting full coverage as you paint through. As long as the paint's wet, it will be, you'll be able to move it round, get rid of any pooling, like so. Pretty happy with that. Pretty cool detail on this one. So I've just finished the prologue in the game. Really like it. The ground exploration, planet exploration, I should say. It was good. It just doesn't match the space combat. Space combat is where this game shines. I love the space combat. The ground combat was good. It was interesting, the story and stuff, but I just don't see myself going back to that planet. I could be completely wrong, by the way, but I don't see myself going back to it unless they do different stories linked to the same scenes. But there's a scene on the planet, as it were, so everything's kind of linked to that particular story. So I don't quite see them reusing it, which is such a waste, because you know you've got a whole kind of scene, I guess, or a station or a location on a planet with these seventh continent style cards, and if you only use them once, that seems like such a terrible waste. And I think maybe just doing kind of tiles. I know that would elongate the game on that version, so I can kind of see why they haven't done that. But having some kind of tiles that you could reuse for different things may have been a better choice. I don't know. I mean, I've only played one story from that one chapter, so I think you know I'll have to wait and see how it all goes. I'm just picking up some of this paint. Now I have quite a lot of this paint left, so I might as well carry on rather than waste it. There we go. And again, if you're watching this live stream later, when it's not live, and it's something that you quite like to join in or ask questions, you can obviously leave comments below, not a problem at all, or just keep an eye out for future live streams. I like live streams because you get to chat to people in the chat. Now, this being a Monday in the afternoon, may not get as many people coming through the chat, which is fine. I'll endeavour to try and do some in the evenings. And again, really not being too careful with this because it's just literally a kind of base coat, I suppose, is the best way to think of it. Awesome. So that's pretty much the paint used up. By the way, with the contrast paints, they tend to dry a lot lighter than when you first put them on. So you can see here, as this one's drying, how much lighter that tone is, which is really cool. But yeah, I'm happy with that base colour. May not be dark enough actually, but it's fine. We're going to start building up the colours as we go along anyway. Speaking of which, I'm going to grab back that Ultramarines blue. Try and keep that in view. And I'm going to put that back on. Contrast medium. Ooh, I'm running low. I'm going to need some more of this contrast medium. Most definitely. And some more of that. Probably about that'll do. Because now we're going to go in with the proper blue. So, let's give it a little test. Nice. So, we're going to follow the art as best we can. Trying to keep reasonable shapes for them. Dee-dee-dee-dee. And again, don't worry about the fact that the paint hasn't dried fully, because we're going over that paint anyway. Then probably come down here like so, and across like so. In the middle, that'll do. Down and then. Okay. Okay, right, on this thing here, we've got darkness on this side. Oops. And again, as I've mentioned on some of my painting videos, you just gotta go with it. May not look very good to start with, but hopefully starts to look like you want it to look eventually. Alright, I'm going to go into the side like so. Okay, so it's already starting to look a little bit interesting. It was very light, that other one, which is fine. Try and make like they've done, kind of shadow that. Right, now we're going to put some detail here. Like so. We're going to have to let that dry so we can go over the next layer. So let's get our other vessel, the gunship. Give the brush a good clean, because we don't want paint to dry on the brush, because that'll wreck your brush. Okay, now we go back over with this. So I think this is dark. Again, just constantly looking at the reference art. Decide how I want to paint this. And then we got down here. Let's give all this. Oh, hi Dexterity. Paint the whole thing with grey contrast paint first. This wasn't, well, it's like a mix of greys. So how I the base coat is Ultramarines blue, Griff Charger grey, Apothecary white, and contrast medium. So that was the base, and then I've just, this is basically just Ultramarines blue and the contrast medium, but I left in some of the stuff from before. So now I'm just block colouring different parts of it. See, as we move along. These are cool ships though. I do like the Yurs. They got a cool design. Quite unique. So Dexterity, have you managed to paint any more? I can't remember what you said, whether you said you've completed all of it, or if we can just basically do all this kind of like knobbly parts. And don't worry about getting things wrong as well, that's quite important, because you can always go in and do some detail work with it anyway. Okay, let's move on to, yeah. And that's the beauty of contrast paints, is they don't have to be a one coat wonder. You can kind of go over, you know, with different colours. You've got to be a little bit careful, because you can start to lose the contrast nature of the paints if you paint over them too much. But certainly doing things like this, really cool and very easy to do. Right, so we need kind of like that looked up. Again, the comic book nature of this means you kind of make up different parts of it, which what I'm trying to do here. Ooh, put a finger there. Cool. I've completed Charis and Argonaut last night. I think I finished the Gnosis and started the Yur Ships. Alright, cool. Right, so early days. Awesome. You enjoying it? Don't have many washes, I'm afraid of the soft tone brown wash. That's the slight issue with washes, is they will darken everything on the miniature. So the difference between contrast and washes is contrast. Well, obviously it depends on what you put it on, but contrast will inevitably keep. Sorry, I was just thinking what to do here. Contrast will keep the kind of light areas or the raised areas really bright. But as you've painted already, I mean, you can always go back over with the orange. So if you find it's coming out too dark, just go back over with the orange and you should be golden. That shouldn't be a problem. So I'm thinking kind of something like that. Really just making stuff up now. Okay. Try and follow this pretty much the same. Okay. Nice, quite happy with that. And then we want to give that in shadow. Just start to shade in little bits as we go through. So here, you see here, we've got a little bit, so we can highlight that part. And don't be afraid to use your finger just to quickly rub off anything that you're not too happy with. In fact, I can bring that line down from there, that would be better. There we go. Cool. That's looking alright. Let's leave that one to dry. Come back to our little science frigate. So I'm thinking, bring the science vessel back. I'm thinking a bit more darker tones coming in around here. So let's do something a bit like this. Too much on that. There we go. Okay. Right, so now we've got to try and mimic these Achillean green. So we want to go more turquoise now. With some other ships in space, you don't really have shadows as much. I prefer colour. Yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah, I mean, washes do dull your miniatures. That's for sure. So I kind of agree. By figures, I mean world exploration miniatures. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be cool. Well, the characters would be good with that. So we want to get some of this turquoisey colour into it now. So great one for that, Achillean green. So we want to lighten this Achillean green up. So let's put some of it here. I'm gonna chuck in a little bit of this. Maybe some more. Definitely with the contrast medium. I think contrast medium is such an important paint. And that looks pretty close. Right, so I'm just trying things. 'Cause I think it's a bit too grey, this ship. I want it to be a bit more brighter, so we're going to go in with the highlights in this Akarian green now. And because I've done the shadows, if you like, or the shadow technique sort of thing already, even if you go over that, it will kind of work. As we go around, just pick up. And as Dicitrus said, well, in space, I suppose you've got the stars, obviously, which will. Yeah, so I want those to be pure quick killing green. So I'm going to go over those eventually later. So I'm not too fussed about that. And then just to give a little bit of a. Thing going on here. You see the colour starting to come through now. We need some on the side here because it's looks stupid otherwise. Yep. And with all painting, I mean, you might look at this and go, oh dear. That's just ruined the miniature. But you got to give it time. You got to give it time, and then hopefully the effect you were after excuse me comes through. Okay. Good news is that looks more like Dice Terity. I'm just going to call you Dice, if that's all right. I like using reference art. I think the art that the designers use for and the artists have used for the game should be the best for the quality that they're going for. So I tend to use reference art, but inevitably, like this, you a lot of these pictures you won't see all the miniature, so you'll have to kind of like improvise, put your own stand on it. But the vast majority of my paint all my paint work tends to be from reference art. Yeah, definitely. I find doing it the same as what the designer intended. Okay. Right, I think we take the bold stand and go with our gunship. Okay. And where I've left it kind of white, I guess, is where you'll get the brightest tone, I suppose. So again, don't worry too much about going over other bits. As I've said on a previous video, my favourite kind of painting is when you use kind of like I guess Google Images and stuff for natural life. That's my favourite type of painting. That's so much fun. So like animals tend to be the best one. Because one of my best painted miniatures was actually from what's it called? God, come on, Scythe, where you've got the tiger. So I painted a Bengal tiger, and I was well chuffed with the result. And you know, this will probably not look identical to the art, which is fine. Sometimes it won't. I would say especially when it's, because this is quite a bland colour or design in a way, apart from the details, as I say. So sorry, just I'm still just using the big brush, right? And just making stuff up. So yep. Okay. Pretty happy with that. Okay. By the way, it's a lot brighter on my screen. No worries, Dice Tree. I'll catch you later. And keep painting, keep enjoying the painting. Right, okay. So let's see where we're at. So, hopefully, so what I was aiming to get to this point, just to kind of show, was everything apart from the dark areas. So you see the dark areas, we're going to go into those next. And then that should allow the rest of it to pop, and then we got some minute details to do later on. So these are going to go a lot darker, a lot darker blue. So let's do that now. So we got some. Now let me think, because I'm thinking I could make this darker. I have got a different. In fact, yes, I got something called Levidon Blue. Levidon Blue is a really dark blue. So I think if we use this in our turquoise. That might be a bit too much. I might as well pick up this blue. In fact, I might use this pot. It's pretty close. So what I'm going to do is use this paint here. I'm going to put a bit of contrast medium in there as well. I think that should be pretty much bang on. So now we're doing the dark shades. Now, everything that you will have painted so far will come through, and that's really important. So you're not block painting out. So that you get those subtle coloured changes and differences, which is really quite important as well. Just going to go straight in the bottom here. How does this go? It kind of goes kind of round, so I'm going to do sort of that. And then back in just like this one did. Like so. Let's get this bit done. And this is kind of like okay, there we go. Okay, let's go to the front and do similar things to this. So a lot of this is in the shadow, it seems. Nice, quite like that. It works. And of course the bottom. And then this again. So let's really hit this side. So I'm going to do this a little bit better. As we move around. I'll do this as well. So that's now looking better. It's not great, is it, the picture? Perhaps a better view. So it's getting there. And now you can see we are much closer to the art. So again, have an idea in your head what you want to kind of go for, and then just go for it. Okay, let's go back to the big boy and do the same thing. So this is going to be a big difference. Because there's right, I'm going to try and attempt to do this. So it's got quite an organic looking shadow. So it kind of comes up, goes round, cuts across, then cuts in, and then cuts off before this one takes over. Like so. Yep. So it kind of goes up, goes around, cuts in, then goes kind of like up like that. That he's doing. I'm being honest, I'm trying to say the paint that we've already put on should really just give it. So therefore I've got this kind of like very similar to what it's got now. Here kind of comes in, goes in like that. Right, and then we'll just keep plodding along. And I'm kind of making stuff up as well, to be honest. So here, so we got like a dark corner, and then kind of around it. So dark corner. Okay, that'll work. And we will really get these shadows working now. It's far less angular, this ship. The Yurs are quite organic looking, so I want to kind of simulate that. Really just hit shadow home here. really exaggerate those particular shadows. It's looking alright. So I want to just get that. Better. Okay, now this one. Again, just darkening all of the shadows. It's not really shadows, is it? It's different parts of the ship. Obviously, underneath needs doing. Which I neglected. Looking alright, it's looking alright. Okay, now this in the corners, and then kind of come across this one as well. Nice. And again, we're looking a bit more like the art. So I'm happy with that. Now I would suggest, if you're doing this, you paint in bulk a little bit. So when you've got the one colour, you do that, and then you go on to the next one and go on to the next one. Right, so what I want to now do is get these really strong highlights in. You know what? Don't need to do those, just need to do the killing green stuff now. So I'm going to go to a smaller brush, to my regiment. And what we want is we want a bit of Corax White, which is just a base paint. By the way, while we're here, let me just what do we use? We used green, and then I used Apothecary White. And we use Levidon Blue. Okay, there we go. It's better. And actually, it's not easiest to see that, is it? So I'm just going to change that to black, and hopefully you can see that a bit better. Okay. So we got the additional paints in there as well. So getting this Apothecary White. Mine has seen better days. Oops. Ah, no. Oh, oops. Just got white, I think, all over the ship. Hang on a second. What's up, right? Just need to do... That might be a bit. Just using water to try and pick up this. It's mostly alright. Okay, we saved that bit. Let's move this forward so I don't do that again. Whoops. Okay, sorry. So, all these little dots are we're going to start with. And we're going to just put clean green all over these to give some really nice bright. Make sure you've got watered down paint. We're talking about normal paints here. Okay. Then we'll do the same. I'm going to do the same on these little dots. Just going to do this. I'm not going to try and hit all of them, just kind of like little lines. There we go. Then next, we've got. Oh, that's not dry. Great. We've got some ones here. So that's going to be one above it. Perhaps could have done with waiting for that to dry completely. And we've got one on the side there. Probably this one here. And over this side. That's about it, really. Let's do one on top. It looks like there might be one on top, so. Like eyes of a squid. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let those dry. My word, it's a bit busy over my table. I haven't got a huge amount of room. Right, so this beastie one now. It's looking cool. I'm really happy with it. It looks pretty much like the art, so I'm happy with that. Let's get some more white. We need to get that watered down, remember? Start with the obvious. Again, we've not got a tiny brush here. It's just one with a decent point. That's what you kind of want to go for. Now, yeah, no, that doesn't have one according to this art, so I'm happy with that. To be honest, that's about it. It's a little bit boring. Actually, there's one little ones all the way down here, so let's got one there like this. Oh, that wasn't dry. Never mind. Nice, I like that. That's cool. And then I think what I might do is just grab a bit of this blue. Now, this won't give you contrast abilities, but I'm just mixing in that with that because I want to get the... They've got some really cool... Yeah, and then basically... No, that's terrible. I'm going to keep it, but what we want is that kind of look. So you certainly don't have to do this, but I just wanted to. And then it's same here, kind of like a... And while we've got this colour, we could do quite a few highlights here as well. So a little bit like this. So I'm going away from my contrast routes here a little bit, and this is now slightly layering. But hey ho. That'll do. Maybe just on these top. Yep. So a little bit of normal paint to just pick out some of those. I might just to finish off with just a little bit on the top of these. Well, yeah, I'm happy with that. That's good. Okay, and then finally, we need to put the Achillean green onto these. So back to just straight out of the bottle, Achillean green for these ones. And what we're looking at. So it's just been an hour. So not a horrendous amount of time to be able to do these. As I say, to tabletop standard, nothing above. So you can get to the table. Let's do these ones. Question is, do I have this on? 1 second. Let me just check. No. I don't think I can. Ah! Sorry. Ah, man. Just realised I've not had this on max resolution. I was wondering why it was not quite as... There we go. I know for next time. It may not quite be as smooth, but you should see a little bit more. And all I'm going to do is just literally plaster these, because what should happen is where I've got white, it should come up nice and bright. Okay, there we go. And then just last bit of detail is there and there, and there and there. And there we go. That is our, it's a bit bright there, isn't it? Hang on, I'm just going to sort that out a minute. I'm just going to get this into here. Really make sure this is a bit bright in some parts of these, so just make sure that hab is trying to mimic. That'll do. Then you can kind of go back. I've got some of this paint. As I have some of this paint left, I'm just going to very quickly do some more contrasting. The longer you spend on the model, the better result will be, but depends on obviously how long you want to spend doing this. Cool. More than happy with that. This is looking real nice. All the bigger ships tend to be fair. Again, just gonna this is the problem, is you'll want to keep fiddling. Oops. Just give it that really high definition. Let me sort this out as well. Better. I mean, you could literally, you could spend a long time on this, just layering it, and you know, you can certainly layer with contrast paints, and that certainly works. I mean, Probably spend most of the day just painting out one bit. That'll do. Right, let's get to that killing green. I don't want the live stream to be too long. Okay, let's get this on here. Sweet. And there we go. That is finished. Okay, so we've got let's move this up. Yeah. Clear the board, as it were. So we've got this one and this one, and you can see, like, from the start there, where I was with the miniatures to where they've ended up, it's quite different. So just believe it's going to come out, and just work on it, and eventually it will come out just as way you kind of hoped. So if I try and get some colour onto this. So here we've got the gunship. And here we've got the science vessel. And they should really come out on the surface. On the surface, on the mat. So, you know, with a kind of... Now this isn't the mat, obviously this is just a mouse pad, but they'll look really smart when you've got it out on the board or whatever it might be. Well, that's the live stream. That was painting some Yur ships. Use Citadel Contrast Paints and some you know, and a bit of Corex white in there as well. Really cool ships. They look really cool, and yeah, pleased with the results. Bit of layering. As always, I'll take some photos and put them onto Facebook and so forth. But you've been watching Painting Game Corner live, and if you're painting, keep enjoying the hobby, and keep gaming. And I will see you next time. Stay safe.